Hi everyone, it's me Gaming 2, and welcome back to 20 Questions. However, in today's 20 Questions, we're officially doing it in a new format. We are no longer going to do the just general numbered 20 questions segments anymore, because I now think it's a bit boring. So from now on, with our 20 questions videos, each video has to be related to a certain topic, and I will answer 20 questions about that topic. So I figured to start, we're going to talk about school. And here I'm going to go over some of my personal experiences with school and stuff like that, and answer questions about what I thought of my school life and stuff like that. Absolutely nobody's personal names will be revealed. This information is all private. I will just say my student or my teacher or this student or something like that. Or at worst, give them a fake name that's not their real name, but I don't even think I'll have to do that. But no real names will be revealed. It'll just be all private and stuff like that. Same with my school. I'm not going to reveal the schools I went to, as that's private. But I will give you some answers for questions about my school life and stuff like that. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started with the first new 20 questions segment. 20 questions school edition. Number 1, what year did you start school? I started kindergarten in 2007. And I was the kindergarten class of 2007 and 2008. Kindergarten was pretty fun, all things considered. I'll get into a little more detail later in the video on another question I have, but the teacher, in my opinion, wasn't the absolute greatest that year, but the overall kindergarten experience was pretty fun. From what I remember, because I was 6 years old then, now I'm 22, so that was 16 years ago. So it's a little bit foggy in my memory, but from what I remember, kindergarten was very fun. That's where I played a lot of they played a lot of songs, like, there was this song they played called Mother Goonie Bird, which was pretty fun, and I also got to play on the, I think it was called Starfall site, and I always remember the song, and the elephant likes red eggs, song from there even to this day. That was fun. Let's move on to the next question, though. Number 2, what were your favorite school subjects? So I think this is really good to... Man, I'm on a stutter today. I think this is really gonna depend on what, age of school I went to, whether it was elementary, middle, or high school. I would say for elementary school, it was probably... You know what? I liked language arts. I will get into a certain thing with language arts later in elementary school, but I remember liking language arts a lot in elementary school. Middle school, it was hard to pick between science and history. And high school, as chaotic as it was, I think my favorite overall class in high school was probably my cinematography class. It was freaking chaotic, and there was a lot of drama in there, but overall, I probably do have the most fond memories in that class. So I will go with language arts elementary, science or history in middle, and in high school, it was my cinematography class I took for my technical school. Number 3, what was your best and worst experience in school? Okay, so I would say my best ever experience in school, honestly, and I don't mean this to say, oh, I finally got here and stuff like that. It was probably my high school graduation. It wasn't because I was like, oh, finally I'm out of school. I was kind of like that, but it was mainly because working for almost 13 years in school, and I finally made it. I finally made it through all the grades. I graduated. I was very proud of myself. So I think that is probably my best experience I ever had in school. Another really good experience I had is when I went on all my class trips and stuff like that. We're going to get into that later in the video, but I really enjoyed class trips. There are certain teachers I liked more than others and stuff like that. So, but I'd say my favorite memory and my best experience in school was when I graduated high school. My worst experience in high school, or in school in general, that's kind of hard to say, because there was a fair amount of bad moments I had in school. I can think of three right off the bat. One was actually two of those moments, I think, were in elementary school, and then the one other was in high school. I'll actually go with the one in high school first, because that's the one in my most recent memory, but one of my least favorite moments in school, and one of my worst memories and stuff like that, had to do with when we were filming something in cinematography class and stuff like that, and my cinematography teacher basically had a breakdown on us because we weren't getting this certain documentary done. Now, I actually wasn't really involved on the documentary specifically because I was in the animation department at that time. Do not ask me to show those animations because they are dog shit at best. Let's just put it like that. But anyways, so I was doing animation at the time, and so were pretty much my group in that class. While the other group was filming a documentary, he got really mad at them, and it was really hard to look, because I looked up to that teacher a lot. And he was a really good teacher, so it was hard to see him so disappointed. So that was probably the worst moment I had in high school. Elementary school, it was this one time, I actually think I had a girl have a crush on me when I was in elementary school, because every day she wanted to walk with me and hold my hand to the classroom, which was so sweet looking back at it. However, it's not what you think. The worst part of that is that the frickin' teacher, who I will get into later, thought this girl probably had cooties or something. No, I'm just kidding. My main point is, she didn't want that happening because she thought third graders were massively in love and stuff like that. Like, what? We're third graders. We're 9 years old, for God's sake. So she told us we couldn't hold hands anymore. Until my grandmother, God bless her, I still miss her so much to this day, came in and frickin' ripped her a new ass. And then she got to keep holding hands, and we pretty much did until the end of third grade. We kind of fell apart once fourth grade started because we weren't in the same class anymore, but it was a really good memory because got justice there. The other worst memory I had in school was literally my probably 9th or 10th day of kindergarten. I had an accident. I kind of went number 2 in my pants. Listen, I was just barely 6 years old. You can't blame me. I wasn't used to being in a classroom having to ask to go to the bathroom or something. So yeah, I don't know what to say. It was just, I remember that happening. I don't remember too many details, but it was gross. So, those are my three worst experiences in school, but the best, I think, is me graduating. That was such a nice moment. Number four, did you have any crushes in school? Why, yes, I did. Um, the peak of my crushes in school was during middle school, probably from like 6th to 8th grade. I had a massive crush on this girl. Oh my god. I wanted to ask her out so badly, and I wanted to really go out on a date with her and stuff like that. I thought she was so beautiful. Did I ever ask her out? Why, no, I didn't. But looking back at it, I don't think it would have worked anyways because we were in two different cliques. I don't know if she was necessarily a jock, but she was definitely on the more popular side, while I was probably on the less popular half of my school. So, looking back at it, I did have a crush in school, and I had a mild one in high school. It wasn't anything as nearly as big as the one I had in middle school. That was my peak crush. Oh my gosh. I thought this one girl was beautiful. From 6th to 8th grade. And one of the saddest things deep in my mind, I didn't tell anybody, but when I went to my technical school, one of the saddest things was that she was going to go to our regular high school and I wasn't. And we were on pretty friendly terms. We were more acquaintances. We weren't like nothing, but I had a massive crush on this girl. I haven't talked to her in probably 7 years, so anyways, I did have a massive crush in school. I had a mild crush in high school. It really wasn't anything serious. By that point, I started to realize I want to sort of improve my life before I start dating anybody. So yeah, I did have a crush on somebody in high school, but it wasn't as serious and as big as the one in middle school. But yes, I did have a crush in school. Didn't really have any actually I did have some in elementary school too. I remember was I in 3rd grade, I think? No, it was 4th grade because I think I was when I had my first crush in school. I was in 4th grade. Um, every one of the ones I've had, though, I was on pretty friendly terms with those girls. But, yes, to make a long story short, yes, I did have crushes in school. So do a lot of kids. Number 5, was your school strict? My high school, not too strict. I remember, one time, I wore my Toronto Blue Jays hat into school. I literally got scolded by the substitute teacher, take your hat off or you're going to the principal, or you're going to go to the office. And I was like, I didn't even say anything. I just took it off. Like, it was the one time I had my hat off or my hat on in school and I got scolded for it. I don't know. Personally, I don't think it's a big deal for you to have a hat on in school, but if it's their rules, then by all means, I'll take it off. It was just the one day I forgot. I usually have it on the bus because the bus is freaking freezing, for God's sakes. And then I wasn't even in first period. It was when I was at the lunch table sitting and having breakfast at my cafeteria. But anyways, I'm rambling on a bit. My high school, besides the whole hat policy, wasn't super strict. My middle school was probably a little more strict, I'd say. Um, it wasn't like, I'll tell you by far the most strict was my elementary school. You weren't allowed to give kids handshakes, fist pumps, um, anything, because it was a hands-off school. You weren't allowed to play tag or anything. I think this was actually because, looking back at it, it was the peak of, like, the 2009 swine flu or something. So I think that's why they did that, but still, it was a completely hands-off school, which, looking back at it, is kind of a good idea, actually, because being around that many people, there's probably a fair amount of germs, so um, it probably is a good idea on paper, but it was a little bit weird to me at the time. But the weirdest thing was in fourth grade, one of the big trends at my school was we were collecting football cards during the NFL season of 2011 and 2012. So we were collecting cards and stuff like that, and apparently it was distracting us so much from our work. We are banning football cards from this school from now on. Almost like it was, I don't know. I feel like some of the teachers at my elementary school weren't exactly the most qualified people in the world. It was almost like screamed at, like we were. I can tell you for a fact that I pretty much kept those cards in my backpack until we went to recess, and that's the only time I ever took them out. I remember one time, one of my favorite memories in recess in elementary school is when this one kid I was friends with got the Eli Manning card, and he was the quarterback of the New York Giants, who was our local team. But he got an Eli Manning card, and apparently, I had his brother Peyton there. He literally gave it to me and traded. We traded the Manning brothers. That was freaking cool, but, that was really cool, but to go over it overall, my school was not super strict. Like, it wasn't like you had to. It wasn't like a Japanese school or anything. It was like you had some rules. A few of them were a bit strict in my eyes, but most of them were pretty warranted looking at it. Number 6, what did you think of school food? For the most part, it was not very good. I will be brutally honest, especially in elementary and middle school. High school, the food got a little bit better. Probably because I went to a technical school where there was a whole culinary program there, and they were probably taught to cook good quality food. But I don't even think the students were the cooks there. I think it was an actual cafeteria staff still. But anyways, high school had by far the best quality school lunches. I still wouldn't say it was great, but the pizza in elementary and middle school tasted like frickin' bread, or tasted like sauce cheese on like dried up pita bread or something like that. It was disgusting. I remember one time I got this big plate of like rotten green beans in middle school, and I threw them out, and my teacher actually scolded me from it. And I actually told her, But miss, I don't think those were good. I think they went bad a few days ago. And then she just said, sit down. Good times, good times. But, yeah, school lunch wasn't the best. In high school, it got a little better. But still, it's not like you're eating in a five-star French restaurant or anything. That's kind of what I expect, but especially in elementary and middle school, it was pretty frickin' putrid. Eventually, I started taking lunch from home more often than not because the actual school bought lunch was pretty disgusting, so most of the time I actually preferred to bring lunch from home. But the times I did buy it, a couple times it was pretty decent, but it was mostly pretty damn gross. Um, Number 7, what did you think of school fire drills? When I was younger in school, I was terrified of them. I have autism, so one of my things with that was that I was really scared. And I even to this day get a little bit startled with louder noises and stuff like that. Not nearly to the degree that I used to, but when I was little, there was always rumor, oh, today is going to be a fire drill. And I was like, great, great, now I'm going to have to plug my freaking ears. And I understand, it's super important to do fire drills because it's to practice on how to get out of the building and stuff like that in case there's a fire. Let me ask this, though. Is standing in a single file line, going out one by one in a huge line, really the best way to get out of the building? And even if it was, I almost guarantee nobody in a real fire is going to listen to that. They're going to speed out of the building as quickly as possible. But anyways, that's just my opinion. That was our rules. We had to go in a single file line, going out the door while the fire alarm was going off, until the principal cleared us to go inside. Now this was a pain in the ass during the middle of January. We're in New Jersey. It is pretty freaking frigid in January, so it was not fun to do fire drills in the middle of winter, but when you did them during the summer and spring and stuff like that, it was a bit better. But overall, I think school fire drills, I was terrified of them, but I totally understand the need for them. So, yeah. Number 8, what clique were you in? I don't even think I was really in a clique. I wasn't a jock, I wasn't really a nerd, I wasn't really really that's the only ones I can think of. I wasn't really a quiet kid. I talked probably a little more than the average quiet kid and stuff like that, so, but I thought of myself as I was mainly kind of my own person. My friend group was too. I don't think we really fell into a clique because we were kind of all a mix of all the cliques. I remember some of the kids in my clique were in sports. Others joined the chess club and stuff like that. So we kind of had a mix. So overall, I wouldn't really say I was really in a clique in school. So, I don't know. I don't really think I was in a clique in school. Number 9, did you have a girlfriend in school? Technically, I it's really complicated because do you really count it if it's a middle school relationship? If you do, then yes, I did have a girlfriend at one point. It was during 8th grade. It was actually a friend I was extremely close to for years. And then finally in 8th grade, these girls came up to us and they were like, it would be so totally cool if you two got together. And after class, I came up to our locker and I was like, well, what do you think? Do you think we'd be a cool couple? And she was like, I think so. I was like, well, do you want to be my girlfriend then? Okay. And about a 2-month relationship when yeah, it actually lasted a little while. It was about 2 months. We were actually planning to go see Star Wars The Force Awakens together as our first date. And, we actually was mainly during school. The most we ever did was hold hands. It was actually pretty nice. Until she started talking about having kids and stuff like that. She was like, oh, what do you want to name our kids? And I was like, I don't know. I'm 14 years old. I don't even know. I probably am going to have kids one day. But I don't even know that answer right now. And that was 8 years ago. Let alone when I was freaking 14. So, at that point, I felt horrible. Because I knew this girl for years and stuff like that. We were friends probably 6 or 7 years before we started dating, but I was just like, I want to be a kid, so I broke up with her in January of 2016. And she was heartbroken, and I felt guilty, but it was like, I was only 14. I didn't want to start considering having kids or paying a freaking mortgage on a house or something like that. So that's the reason I broke up with her, is because she was thinking a little too far in the future for my age. If it were us now, I would definitely be a little more mature and I'd probably still keep it together, but at the age of 14, I don't think I was ready for a girlfriend. And yeah, I did have a girlfriend in middle school in 8th grade, but I don't think it was the most super serious relationship ever. And number 10, what class trips did you go on? I went on plenty of class trips. The very first one I ever went on was to like this sort of, I don't know what you'd call it. It was sort of like oh, I know what my first school trip was. It was to the high school in my local area, and we went to the planetarium they built there, and we laid on the ground staring at the planets for like an hour or so, and it was pretty cool. My first real class trip, though, was going to New York City to go to the Museum of Natural History. Now, that was my first time visiting New York City, and when I saw it, I was freaking like, holy crap, look at how big these buildings are. Coming from a kid from rural New Jersey, about an hour and a half from New York City, it was a pretty big culture shock to see how big buildings could get. So, yeah. Going to Manhattan was a freaking culture shock. And, yeah. And then another trip I took was also to New York City the following year. But we went to the Bronx, to the Bronx Zoo. And, I remember that day the freaking traffic was insane. And we were really scared that we were going to be late. And we were going to have time taken off of our trip. But luckily we left early, so we had enough time. And we got to the place on time for like our scheduled events to see all the animals. That was a really cool trip. I also remember we took a class trip to this little Indian village that was actually really close to where we lived. That was only like 5 or 6 minutes down the road from our school. Compared to the previous 2 years, our fourth grade trip was a bit smaller. In fifth grade, we went to Jersey City to go to the Liberty Science Center. That was really cool. I remember my favorite part there was going in the wind machine and getting the freaking piss blown out of me. When I went to Connecticut last year, I actually went in that same machine again, and it was freaking cool. That was probably my favorite part of visiting the Liberty Science Center. I think it was the last class trip I ever... Oh, if you count going to my technical school that I was going to go to in 8th grade, that was my last class trip. Because I did go there and we took a tour of everything and stuff like that before I actually went to my technical school. But if you count a real class trip, my last class trip was to the Liberty Science Center in 5th grade. That was a lot of fun. So I had a lot of fun class trips when I was in school and stuff like that. Number 11. Who was your favorite and least favorite teacher? Now, like I said earlier in the video, I am not going to get into any specific names, but I will go into what I thought of these overall teachers and when I had them and stuff like that. So let's get on into this. I will name 2 each, and coincidentally, my 2 least favorite teachers were both in elementary school, while my 2 favorites were one in middle school and one in high school. So we will go over this now. We'll go over my least favorites first. My one least favorite was my very first kindergarten teacher, who sent me to the principal's office like 5 days into the first week of school. And this was my very first week of school because I was in kindergarten. I think kindergartners should sort of be exempt from going to the principal's office because they're freaking 6. They don't have the same mentality that even a 10-year-old has at like the end of elementary school. So I think kindergartners should be exempt. Once you get to first grade, maybe, but in kindergarten, you're so young that I don't really think you know the difference. You're just getting into school, pretty much. So, yeah, she was another one of my least favorites, but not my absolute least favorite. My least favorite teacher I ever had was that same teacher who tried to break up that hand-holding between me and that one girl in 3rd grade. She was my 3rd grade English teacher, and she had it out for me. Because she treated absolutely everybody else great. Except for me, who she absolutely hated for some reason. And guess what? I never acted out in class. I never fooled around or anything. I was just a kid who sat down and did my work. My one buddy was in there, so I talked to him on occasion, but only when I had permission to and stuff like that. I don't know why. She just hated my freaking guts. I don't know how you can hate a random 9-year-old's guts, but she managed to. And that was not fun. Like I remember one time I had a water bottle and I spilt it on my paper and she got all frustrated and she was like, "Oh, come on, Andrew, you spilt that on your paper." And I was like, "Come on, it was an accident, I swear." And she was like, "Oh no, you do not swear in my classroom." I am dead serious. How did this teacher get a degree? I genuinely wonder that. I really do, because that is something that wouldn't even come in my mind to say something like that. I swear does not mean you're gonna literally curse in the freaking classroom, for God's sakes. Oh my God. It's a saying. It doesn't mean I'm literally gonna freaking curse. That's just one example of her among many. But I did have a lot of good teachers in school, and we'll go into my two favorites. Now, unlike my least favorite, where I could definitively pick my least favorite, I pretty much tie these two teachers as my favorite teachers I ever had. One was this male teacher I had in 5th grade. He was my science/history teacher, and he was one of the most awesome teachers I ever had. Whenever I needed help, he would help out and always help me out to the point where I got the material. He would, I was kind of nervous to get into middle school, but he made sure to reassure me middle school wasn't that much harder than elementary school. It got a little harder once he got into like 7th grade, but 5th grade wasn't that much harder than 4th grade, honestly. But, yeah, my school starts middle school in 5th grade. I know a lot of schools started in 6th grade, but we started it in 5th grade. And I remember my first day of middle school, a lot of us were really nervous because we've been going to the same elementary school for 5 or 6 years at that point. So we were pretty nervous to finally be going to a new school and stuff like that. And he really helped me out with that. And he picked out my movie that we brought into school during school movie day. I brought in Wreck-It Ralph, which was, I think, pretty much brand new at the time, or just got released on DVD at the time. So I bought that in, we watched that. The whole class thanked me for that, which was really cool. He was just a super helpful, super nice, awesome teacher. I can also say the same about my math teacher in high school, who I had in freshman, sophomore, and senior year. She was awesome. Admittedly, I actually wasn't doing the absolute greatest in her class, but she freaking made sure I passed her class, and not only that, she made sure that I got good grades. She stayed after class with me and helped me out to the absolute most she could. She helped me out in class a lot without any hesitation. It was really hard to say if I prefer her or my science/history teacher I had in 5th grade, but I might have to go with her as my favorite teacher. She was my math teacher 3 times in high school, and freshman, sophomore, and senior year. She was just so freaking helpful and stuff like that. And I wasn't the absolute best at math. It wasn't like some of the kids who were literally not trying or anything. It was because I was really disorganized in school and stuff like that, and I lost stuff. And she really helped me with that too. It was just, she was such a good teacher. It's not even funny. I don't know who was better, but I like both of them so much that I will always have special memories of them. I hope they're doing very well right now. They were my 2 favorite teachers in school. Number 12. What were some of your school bus experiences? To put it lightly, it was like going to the zoo. It's a lot of fun, but eventually it becomes way too freaking crazy for you. For example, in high school, the kids in the grade below me, in high school, so they were the class of 2021, acted like literal monkeys on the bus. So I think this happened when I was a junior and they were sophomores. They were literally throwing water bottles all across the bus and stuff like that. And they were throwing, those little twist up crayon thingies that Crayola made? They were throwing them around. And finally, one of them threw one at my head, a water bottle at my head. And I turned around and I literally looked at them and I was like, "Did you throw this at my head?" And the little punk was like, "Yeah, what are you gonna do about it?" And I was like, "Do you want to find out?" He sat right the frick down. I am usually a nice guy, but if he would have challenged me, I would have thrown it right back at his head. End of story. But anyways, it was like a zoo going on the bus, especially in high school. I would actually say the worst part in all of high school was going on that freaking mental asylum of a bus where the kids, especially the kids in the class of 2021, acted like they were freaking apes that escaped the Bronx Zoo or something like that. It was absolutely insane. But for the most part, I was actually pretty quiet on the bus. I mainly listened to my music and played like phone games and stuff like that. I pretty much just minded my own business. But the few times I did have to interact with them was pretty negative because they were delinquents, to put it lightly. And yeah, my experiences on the bus were pretty freaking crazy. 13, how would you rank elementary, middle, and high school? So, going on an overall scale, I'd say high school was probably my favorite. I didn't really get bullied that much in high school. I got into arguments and not physical. I never got into a physical fight in high school, but I got into some verbal arguments and stuff like that, and little bit of drama in high school, but like nothing really serious. No real bullying. I didn't get bullied or anything. Middle school, I didn't get bullied that much either. A little bit. Definitely more than I did in high school, but like, it was more teasing bullying than actual bullying. Elementary school, still, I wouldn't say I was bullied to hell and back, but I did have some legitimate bullies in elementary school. There was this one kid who was on the bus, and his life's goal was to make my life a living hell. And he kept freaking... One time, he literally poked me in the freaking eye. You call that cool? I don't even think he got in trouble for that. So that's some of the worst poetic justice you'll ever hear. Poking a kid in the eye and he won't even get in trouble for it. That's not right. But anyways, no, I didn't get bullied too much in school. I wonder if it was the fact because I was a pretty big kid, probably, but in elementary school I did get bullied a little bit, but it wasn't anything super serious. Once I got into middle school, there was slight teasing and stuff like that, but nothing really bad. Then in high school, I think I might have gotten made fun of once or twice. But by high school, I was pretty much just so freaking over it that I can't even remember what happened. I just didn't really give a fuck. So, yeah, I didn't get bullied that much in school. Number 15, what were some of your experiences in gym class? kind of a long answer, but I'll try to shorten it. Some of my favorite gym class memories were mainly in high school gym. I remember one time we were in the locker room and I wasn't involved in this, but I remember I had to go to the bathroom, and when I was going to the bathroom, I heard these loud whipping noises coming from the actual locker room. And it turned out that these kids took their freaking shirts off and were having a freaking whipping match with them. And they were hitting each other in the freaking crotch area. I just had to freaking facepalm and shake my head. Like, I get boys will be boys and stuff like that, but that's just strange. But anyways, that's one of the experience. Another experience I had was when I was in gym and we were playing dodgeball. One of the golden rules in dodgeball in my gym class was to never hit kids in the head. Never. Do you think these kids listened to the gym teachers? Of course they freaking didn't. At one time, they hit me in the head. I got pretty freaking angry. And this kid started laughing when he did it. And I probably shouldn't have said this, but I said, "This hits me in the head again, this is going up your ass." Did I obviously mean that? No, it was just out of anger, but it was freaking, my God, you can't even listen to one simple rule in dodgeball, not to hit people in the... Now, I get it if you were not targeting my head and it was an accident. That actually did happen one time. It was a girl that did it and she felt really bad. I didn't get even slightly mad because it was an accident. This kid targeted my head. I know he did. And it was freaking insane. And he was in the grade above me, actually. He graduated in 2019. I think this was during our sophomore gym class. But it was an experience. Let's just put it like that. And the last experience I have in gym class actually doesn't really have to do with gym, but more, there was this thing called shot volleyball that we did, and this was during my senior year. I remember our gym class, or our gym had a volleyball thing set up, and our shop had to participate in it and stuff like that, which mine was cinema. I didn't want to participate because I'm not exactly the most athletic kid in the world. I know I would have cost the freaking team the entire game and stuff like that, so I was like, yeah, I don't want to get yelled at for losing and everybody's a sore loser or something like that. Like, oh my God, you cost us the whole game. Lada, yada, yada, yada. I was just in no mood for that bull crap, so I didn't participate. But one kid that did participate was this kid who was in my actual gym class. Let's just say he liked anime a little too much. Have you ever heard of the term hentai? Let's just say, like a parrot, he kind of mimicked it in the middle of the volleyball game, literally screaming to the top of his lungs with it, and it was both the most freaking funny thing to ever happen in gym class and the most embarrassing thing to happen in gym class, because I was kind of friends with this kid, so it was almost embarrassing to a point. I mean, we weren't great friends or anything, but we were kind of in the same group. But it was half hilarious and half embarrassing, but That was one of the most memorable moments I ever had in gym class. Like I said with the teachers and stuff like that, I'm not revealing any names. This is all personal and stuff like that, but it was freaking crazy. It was absolutely ballistic, but it was freaking hilarious. So I had a lot of it. Sort of like the bus, gym class was a freaking zoo. Number 16, did you ever get detention? Yes, I did. I got detention 3 times throughout my school life. Twice in middle school and once in high school. The first time I got it, I was in 6th grade. It was the one and only time I kind of deserved it, the first time I got it, because I feel really bad about it now, but there was this kid who bullied me in, 6th grade. It was one of the few times I was getting bullied. My one buddy and I finally had it. So, especially him, because he got bullied by him too. He said something really mean to him, and I started laughing hysterically. And I didn't say it. I didn't say what was said there. I was just more sort of the accomplice, and I was the buddy laughing and stuff like that. But he said that, guess who was there listening to it? The freaking principal of the school. And we got detention. It's the one time I kinda deserved it. The second time, actually, I said maybe dual deserve it, but this one kind of has a little bit of a twist. So there was this one girl in school in 7th grade who really didn't like me. We were going to, this was, I believe, recess. Yeah, we were going out to recess, and I was sitting with my one buddy at the bench, and we were there for, maybe a minute or something. And this group of girls with that one girl who probably wanted me to freaking rot in hell for all she cared came up and was like, "Oh my god, you're sitting in our seat. Get out." And I was like, "Does it have your name on it? We got here first." And she was like, "Get your fat, lazy ass off the seat before I pummel you." And I was like, "I'd like to see you try, bitch." Should I have said that, and would I have said that nowadays? No. But I was 13 years old, so I was very immature. That was enough to make her cry. And she told the principal, and I got detention. I tried explaining to the principal that she antagonized us first and called me fat and lazy, but apparently that wasn't worthy enough for her to go to detention. So yes, I kind of did deserve my detentions 2 out of 3 times, but she did too. But did she get in trouble? No. And that was freaking really, really sad. Now, the one time I got it in high school was abso-freaking-lutely not deserved. At my school in high school, if you were late to school 4 times, you got after-school detention. I was late to school 4 times one year because I was either running late from the bus or we were running late for going to the bathroom or something like that. It was just stuff we couldn't really help. Did that matter to the administration? Nope. Andrew, you have to go to detention this afternoon. Find a way to get home. Okay. Not fun. Let me just put it like that. And that was the worst detention because the first 2 detentions I got, we were actually cut out early because, actually, I will go into an extended version of the second story. The one teacher that was the detention teacher let me go early and said, hey, if it were me, she would have gotten in trouble too, and winked at me, and she was like, you can go now, and I was like, thank you. But the time in high school, it was okay, because you were actually able to do homework in detention, which was, thank God, because if I had to just sit there for an hour for being late 4 times, I would have probably have fallen fast asleep or something like that, and I might have gotten more detention. So thank God I had work that time. But yes, overall I did get 3 detentions, never got suspended, obviously never got expelled, but I've only gotten detention 3 times. None of them were fun, but high school was kind of the worst one, because if you cut the entire day and cut class and stuff like that, I understand. But you're late to school 4 times? No. That just does not make any sort of sense to me. If I were the principal of that school, I would take that rule off right away. If you cut class completely, then maybe, but being late to school 4 times is not an excuse to give a freaking detention, in my opinion. I thought it was stupid. But, anyways, yeah, I got detention 3 times throughout my school career. 17, did you ever cheat in school? Depends on what you say, cheat. If you mean looking at other kids' answers for a test or something like that, no. Or having a secret cheat sheet during a test, no. But when I was in math, in especially middle school, there was this app that would sort of help you out and stuff like that. I always made sure to put the work down and stuff like that, but I kind of looked up some of the answers online for homework and stuff like that, and 95% of the time it was accurate and correct, so I got good grades and stuff like that. But I remember one time I got caught, and it was not fun. I didn't get in trouble or anything, but the teacher said she was disappointed in me. And that's not fun. Would I cheat nowadays? No, I would not. Absolutely not. But I remember I wasn't a big cheater. Whenever I could figure out a problem, I did it by myself. But where's just one I could not figure out, I got the answers online on occasion. But I never cheated on a test or anything. It was just, well, I looked up some of the answers for homework a few times, but that was about the biggest extent of it. Number 18, did you ever go to any school dances? I did. I went to 3. I went to 4. I went to my winter dance in 7th grade, which was my first dance. I didn't go to my end of the year dance in June for that. I don't even think we weren't allowed to, because that was only for the 8th graders. I never went with any sort of girl or anything. I always went to the dances with my friends. We went there and we had a blast. We had a good time, stuff like that. It was a lot of fun. I remember going to, in 8th grade, I did get to go to my one at the end of the year. That was pretty fun. I remember I wanted to ask my one crush out I talked about earlier during the dance and ask her to the dance, but I was cripplingly shy at that moment, so I didn't. But yeah, it was freaking fun. I really enjoyed my school dance. I did go to one in high school. I went to my sophomore homecoming dance of all of them because my 2 friends were going and they asked my entire friend group to go. It was actually the one girl in my friend group who really wanted to go. And no, we were not dating. We were just really good friends, and we were. But she asked our entire group to go, and only two of them said yes. One was this other guy who she was really close with, and the other kid who said yes was me. Everyone else said no, they don't really want to go to school dances. Because I already had experiences with school dances, I said yes. The one in high school was uh probably my least favorite, though it was probably the one and only time in high school I was really rowdy. Don't worry, I wasn't drunk or anything, but I remember going outside during the dance when everyone else was inside. I think my stepfather said he was coming to pick me up soon, and we all went out there. And we just started randomly screaming, and we were laughing hysterically. I love those moments. Honestly, it's some of the reasons I miss my old high school friends and stuff like that. Because we had a blast a lot of times, and that was one of them. My sophomore dance was one of the most fun moments I ever had in high school. That was a blast. Even though it was probably my least favorite dance, because the ones in 7th and 8th grade were some of the highlights of the entire year. It was a freaking blast. It was awesome. So yeah, I did go to school dances, and I actually liked them a lot. However, I never went to prom. And do you know why I never went to prom? Because a certain friend that we all know and love, named COVID-19, paid a visit during 2020 when I graduated, which is the answer to the last question, but we'll get into that a little bit later. I didn't get to have a prom my senior year because, and I was actually planning on going to prom. I wanted to go. I was like, I think this would be really cool. At first, I was a little bit scared because it was in Paterson, New Jersey, which is known to have a pretty high crime rate. But when the teachers told us it was in one of the safer parts of the city, I was like, oh, okay then. But we were going to go to this like really cool old house in Paterson, New Jersey, and we didn't get to do that because the freaking world shut down about a month before our prom. Good times with COVID, which is the total opposite. It was never good times. But yeah, I enjoyed my school dances overall. Number 19, did you ever do any extracurricular activities? Not many, but I did do one for a full year. I did choir in 4th grade. I remember I went there, we learned how to sing and stuff like that, and I was a part of the choir. We had to practice because we had 2 performances in the year. We had one Christmas play, sort of, or one Christmas choir, and then we had a choir in June right before the end of the school year. Should I sing a song for you guys? I don't want you guys to go deaf. I don't know. I don't think so. I was gonna sing a song to you, and alright, I'll sing Good Morning Mushroom Kingdom using my choir skills. Good morning, Mushroom Kingdom. Good morning, Mushroom Kingdom. We're all happy in this place, far away and nearby. We want to say good morning to you. You're not aware that is the main song for GD Plus the Movie Part 1. But if you If you did not enjoy that, you are absolutely correct, because I do not retain my singing skills from fourth grade choir. Let's just put it like that. That is the one and only time I actually did a full year of extracurricular activities. Um, Wait! No, 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 no. No, that's not true. I can't believe I forgot about this. I was a member of the school paper in middle school. I can't believe I forgot about this, but it's true. I was a member of the school paper in middle school in 7th and 8th grade. I wrote for the newspaper there. And I also originally wanted to do yearbook, but then that really messed with my school paper schedule. And I did that in 7th grade while I was planning on doing yearbook in 8th grade. And part of it was because I was the only boy in yearbook, and I shouldn't have done it, but I don't know. I felt like I wouldn't have really. I had friends that were girls in school, but none of them were really my close friends. I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't have been able to get into it really with that certain group. But I remember doing the school paper in 7th and 8th grade. I completely forgot that I did that, but I was a member of the school paper in 7th and 8th grade, and it was a lot of fun. I actually got to write many cool art. If I ever find those articles, or I ever find my old school newspaper, I will do a video and show you those. But I remember I was there, and that was a lot of fun. It was a ton of fun, actually. In high school, I actually didn't do any extracurricular activities. I mainly just focused on my schoolwork and stuff like that. But yeah, in elementary school I did choir, in middle school I did the school paper. I can't believe I forgot about doing the school paper, but I did. It was called Rampage. And yes, my old school was known as the Rams. That's why it was called the Rampage. But it was a lot of fun, and I have fond memories with that. Even though I can't believe I forgot that I actually did the school paper. But that was really cool. Last but not least is question number 20. What year did you graduate? I already said it, 2020. The year all hell broke loose. And COVID tortured the entire world. It shortened my year, which was not fun, but hey, at least everybody was safe and stuff like that. I didn't really get to have a proper graduation, which was one of the saddest parts. I was still probably the happiest moment in all of school is when I graduated, because everything I practiced was put to a big diploma and stuff like that, which was so cool. But my senior year was kind of screwed by the pandemic. Like, we were going to have Walt Disney World. We were going to go there for big class trip, but that had to be canceled. Prom was canceled. There was a second option to go on a picnic to Dorney Park in Allentown, Pennsylvania. They were going to do one of those. I was planning on going to that too. It was going to be a freaking blast and would have been so freaking memorable. But the freaking world freaking shut down in 2020, and for good reason, but it did kind of screw up my senior year. So, yeah, I graduated in 2020. Unfortunately, probably one of the worst years of all time to graduate, because the pandemic was in full force there, and it was not fun. And that's about it. I hope you guys like this little change of pace to my series. I like doing this new 20 question segment. of picking a specific topic to talk about. I think next time we're going to... I don't know what we're going to talk about next time. I'm thinking... I know I wanted to talk about school first. I'm thinking maybe we'll do something like video games or movies or something like that. Or no, I know what the next one's going to be. Part 2 is going to be 20 Questions Geography Edition, where we're going to focus on my favorite things with geography and stuff like that, as it's one of my biggest passions of all time. So we'll be doing a geography round of 20 questions sometime in March. Hope you look forward to that, and that's about it. Gaming Jew here. See you later. Bye.